The largest rainforest on Earth may not be a natural wilderness at all. For centuries, explorers and scientists described the Amazon as a pristine jungle, untouched, ancient, primordial, a place where nature had operated without human interference for millions of years, a green cathedral too vast and too hostile for civilization to ever take root. That description was wrong in almost every way. Beneath the canopy that stretches across 9 countries and covers more than 5 million square kilometers lies a hidden world that is only now being revealed. Not a wilderness, but a landscape shaped, modified, and in some places entirely constructed by human hands over thousands of years. Buried beneath the roots of the tallest trees on Earth are the remnants of cities that rivaled anything in ancient Europe. Beneath the forest floor lies a soil engineered by human intelligence that science still cannot fully replicate. And beneath the soil itself, at depths no explorer has ever reached on foot, flows an underground river nearly as long as the Amazon, a vast hidden current that was unknown to science until the 21st century. The Amazon has been hiding its past in plain sight, and the deeper we look, the more impossible that past becomes. Our journey begins where every investigation of the Amazon must begin, at the surface that conceals everything beneath it. From above, the Amazon appears limitless, a continuous green mass absorbing heat, releasing moisture, and generating clouds that travel thousands of kilometers before becoming rain in other parts of the world. It produces roughly 20% of the world's fresh oxygen and contains more plant and animal species than anywhere else on the planet. But step beneath the canopy, and the first mystery presents itself immediately. The soil here should not support this forest. Tropical soils exposed to the constant heat and rainfall of the Amazon basin are among the most nutrient-poor on Earth. Billions of years of weathering have stripped the ground of nearly every mineral capable of sustaining plant life. The nutrients exist here, but not in the ground. They exist in the trees themselves, cycling endlessly between living matter and rapidly decomposing organic material on the forest floor. This creates what ecologists call a closed-loop system. The forest feeds itself by decomposing itself. There is almost nothing left in the actual soil. Yet, in specific regions of the Amazon, something entirely different has been found. Scattered across the basin in patches ranging from a few hectares to several hundred square kilometers is a dark, almost black soil, unlike anything that should naturally exist here. Local communities have known about it for generations. Scientists first documented it formally in the 19th century, but its true origin remained uncertain for more than 100 years. It is called terra preta, Amazonian dark earth. In a region where normal tropical soil is thin, pale, and nearly infertile, terra preta is deep, rich, and extraordinarily productive. It contains levels of carbon, nutrients, and biological activity that dwarf anything found in the surrounding environment. And unlike ordinary compost or fertilizer, it does not deplete over time. It appears, in some cases, to regenerate itself. The explanation for this took decades to accept, because it required abandoning a deeply held assumption about the Amazon. Terra preta is not natural. It was made. Analysis of the dark soil revealed the presence of charcoal, bone fragments, pottery shards, and organic waste. The accumulated refuse of sustained human occupation over long periods of time. The particular form of charcoal embedded within it is stable in ways that ordinary organic matter is not. It binds nutrients to the soil at a molecular level and creates an environment where microorganisms thrive in enormous numbers. Whoever created terra preta had developed a method of soil engineering that modern agriculture has not been able to fully reproduce. The implications of this discovery are staggering. If large areas of the Amazon contain this engineered soil, it means large areas of the Amazon were permanently settled and intensively managed for extended periods. Not by small bands of hunter-gatherers passing through, by communities sophisticated enough to deliberately transform one of the most difficult soils on Earth into something capable of sustaining dense populations. The question then becomes not whether civilization existed here, but how large it was. For centuries, the Amazon was assumed to be empty of history. Early European explorers reported seeing massive settlements along the river's banks, fires stretching for kilometers along the shoreline, villages so continuous that the river appeared to flow through a single enormous inhabited region. Those accounts were dismissed. They seemed too extraordinary to be credible, and within decades of European contact, the populations had collapsed so dramatically that almost no physical evidence remained. Those early reports were correct. Beginning in the 1990s, and accelerating dramatically after the introduction of LiDAR, a laser-based aerial mapping technology capable of penetrating forest canopy, archaeologists began uncovering what the jungle had been hiding for 500 years. In the state of Acre in western Brazil, surveys revealed hundreds of geometric earthworks carved into the landscape with extraordinary precision. Circles, squares, and octagons covering areas up to 200 meters across, arranged in complex patterns across thousands of square kilometers. Most had been buried under forest for centuries. Some were only discovered because the land had been cleared for cattle ranching, and their outlines briefly appeared in the exposed ground before being destroyed. These structures are not random. They follow alignments that correspond to astronomical events: solstices, equinoxes, lunar cycles. Their precision suggests not only advanced planning, but sophisticated knowledge of celestial patterns. Some are connected by causeways, raised roads that allowed movement across flooded terrain during the wet season. The scale of what is being found continues to expand. In the Bolivian lowlands, a region once dismissed as a sparsely inhabited backwater, survey after survey has revealed an entirely different landscape buried beneath the grass. Raised agricultural fields stretching across hundreds of thousands of hectares. Canal systems designed to control seasonal flooding. Fish weirs capable of harvesting enormous quantities of protein with minimal effort. Artificial forest islands rising out of the savanna, each one containing the characteristic dark soil of long-term human occupation. In recent years, LiDAR surveys of the Llanos de Mojos region of Bolivia revealed a network of urban settlements connected by straight elevated causeways and covering an area comparable to a medium-sized modern country. The largest site contained a densely built center surrounded by concentric earthwork rings, with populations estimated in the tens of thousands. This was not a settlement. It was a city. Not one city. Dozens of them, linked in a regional network that archaeologists are still attempting to fully map. Before these discoveries, the standard estimate for pre-Columbian Amazonian populations stood at around 1 million people. That number has since been revised dramatically. Some researchers now place the figure at 8 to 10 million, distributed across a landscape that was not a wilderness, but a managed, modified, and in many areas heavily urbanized environment. And here lies perhaps the most unsettling discovery of all. The Amazon rainforest itself may be, at least in part, the creation of those people. Studies of tree species distribution across the basin have found something that natural forest ecology cannot explain. Trees that produce edible fruits, nuts, and materials useful to humans. Brazil nuts, cacao, acai palms, rubber trees are not distributed randomly. They cluster in patterns that correspond almost exactly to known areas of ancient human settlement and the roads that connected them. The forest did not grow around the civilization. The civilization grew the forest. Up to 12% of the Amazon's tree species show genetic or distributional evidence of having been cultivated or selectively spread by human activity. What appears to be pristine wilderness is in many areas an agricultural landscape so old that it has been entirely reclaimed by nature, its origins visible only to those who know where to look. The civilization that built all of this then largely vanished. Not slowly. Not over centuries of gradual decline. Within a single human lifetime after European contact, disease, smallpox, measles, influenza, against which Amazonian peoples had no immunity whatsoever, tore through the population with a speed and lethality that is almost impossible to comprehend. Estimates suggest that 90% of the indigenous population of the Americas died in the century following European arrival. Cities were abandoned. Fields reverted to forest. Roads disappeared under vegetation. The engineered soil was buried. The earthworks were swallowed by growth so rapid that within a few generations, no one alive could remember what had stood there before. By the time European naturalists arrived to formally study the Amazon in the 18th and 19th centuries, the forest had already erased most of the evidence. What remained was misread as nature, a place that had never been touched, rather than a place that had been entirely transformed and then abandoned. But beneath all of this, beneath the soil, the earthworks, the roots of trees planted by hands 5 centuries gone, there is one more layer that no civilization ever reached. One more hidden system that operates on a scale that makes even the largest ancient city look small by comparison. In 2011, a Brazilian geologist published the results of a study that had taken decades to complete. Using temperature data from thousands of oil exploration boreholes drilled across the Amazon basin over the previous century, his team had mapped the flow of water through deep underground rock formations at depths of between 2 and 4 kilometers beneath the surface. What they found was not merely an aquifer or an underground reservoir. They found a river. A continuous flow of water moving through porous rock from the Andes Mountains in the west toward the Atlantic coast in the east, following almost exactly the same course as the Amazon above it. Thousands of kilometers long, fed by the same rainfall systems, flowing in the same direction. It is now known as the Hamza River. The Hamza is not a river in the conventional sense. It does not flow through an open channel, but through the pores and fractures of rock. Its movement is slow, meters per year rather than the kilometers per hour of the surface Amazon. But its volume is immense, and its length places it among the longest subterranean water systems ever identified anywhere on Earth. At the depths where it flows, the surrounding rock is permanently dark and permanently cold. The pressure is sufficient to crush any structure that human engineering could place there. No light has ever reached it. No root system has ever penetrated to it. No ancient settlement ever drew from it. It exists entirely outside the human story of the Amazon, a hidden parallel system flowing beneath everything else, indifferent to the cities that rose and fell above it, indifferent to the forest that was shaped and abandoned and grew back again. The Amazon basin itself sits atop some of the oldest rock on the surface of the planet. The Guiana Shield to the north and the Brazilian Shield to the south are among the most ancient geological formations on Earth, unchanged in their fundamental structure for hundreds of millions of years, while everything above them was created, destroyed, and created again. In this context, the ancient cities begin to look different. The engineered soil, the causeways, the geometric earthworks, the cultivated forest. All of it represents a thin layer of human presence pressed onto a geological foundation so old that civilization itself looks like a recent event. The Amazon does not reveal its past easily. Every layer uncovered suggests another beneath it. The forest that was assumed to be natural turns out to be a garden. The garden turns out to sit atop a city. The city turns out to be part of a civilization. And the civilization turns out to sit atop a geological system that was operating for hundreds of millions of years before the first human being ever set foot on this ground. We have spent centuries looking at the Amazon and seeing only trees. The real question was never what lives here. It was what the forest has already buried. LiDAR surveys continue to expand the known area of ancient occupation every year. Archaeologists estimate that less than 1% of the Amazon basin has been systematically mapped using modern technology. What the other 99% conceals remains unknown. Beneath the canopy, beneath the roots, beneath the engineered soil and the buried cities and the kilometers of ancient rock, the Hamza River continues to flow, carrying water from the mountains to the sea through absolute darkness, on a course that was set long before any civilization existed to give it a name. If you want to keep discovering the hidden systems and forgotten histories buried beneath the world around us, subscribe and stay with us for what comes next.